This conference will now be recorded.
Okay.
Okay, it's 7:01. I'll call the October 7th, 2020 meeting to order. It's a virtual meeting via GoToMeeting. Tonight's meeting is available on gotomeeting.com. You may email your questions or comments to the borough clerk in advance to lfernandez@hawthornenj.org. And you can also log in from your computer or your tablet or your smartphone at https://global.gotomeeting.com/join/472-199-829 or dial in at 312-757-3121 and the access code is 472-199-829. Now please note that we're updating our AV equipment and we will not be broadcasting live to the channel cable channels tonight on Optimum 77 and Verizon Fios 28. This video will be uploaded tomorrow to our website, so please do a YouTube rewatch of the meeting if you want. And I know we did send out a nixle to tell everyone who normally watches it on TV. Obviously, if they're looking now, they're not going to get this message, but it was sent out to everyone. Roll call.
Bennett,
Here.
Leosa,
Here.
Lane,
Here.
Mealy,
Here.
Chiara,
Here.
Witecki.
Here.
Matthews.
Here.
Thank you.
Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of
States of
America.
America.
And to the republic for which it stands,
It stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Should have had a flag.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by the annual schedule of regular meetings herefore adopted and posted on the public bulletin board at the municipal building, emailed to the Hawthorne Press, the Herald News, the Record, the Gazette, and all persons who've requested the mailing of such schedule. The copy of said schedules remained on file in the office of the borough clerk from and since December 12th, 2019. In accordance with the executive orders issued by Governor Murphy relating to COVID-19 pandemic, this meeting will take place in a virtual setting on the GoToMeeting platform. Approval of the minutes. We have minutes from the meeting of September 2nd and September 16th, 2020. Can I have a motion?
So moved. So moved.
Motion by Witecki, second by Sierra, or don't know if that was vice versa. Somebody was very quick.
I think that was it.
Okay. Any discussion on the minutes? Roll call.
Witecki,
Meow.
yeah, is that yes? Chiara,
Yes.
Mealy,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes.
Leosa,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Matthews.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Public comment on agenda items. I'll now open the meeting to the public for comments on agenda items. If you have any questions on agenda items, you can call in at 312-757-3121, access code 472-199-829, or email lfernandez@hawthornenj.org. Or use the chat feature on the GoToMeeting platform. Seeing none, I entertain a motion to close the public portion of the meeting.
So
All
moved.
those
Sorry.
motion by Witecki, second by Sierra. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Adoption of ordinances, we have none this evening. Old business. Joe, we'll start your way.
wow. Thank you, Council President.
You're on mute.
Has somebody reached out to Mike Sebetech in regards to the horseshoe pits? Not whether or not we're doing them, just have we communicated to him?
Yes, I had a conversation with him.
Excellent. Thank you. I will scratch that off my to-do list. Handicap ramp, Diamond Bridge and Goffel Road.
I don't yet have a commitment for getting it done. I've asked Public Works to take a look at it, to see what needs to be done. I don't know whether the county will do that, even though it's 2 county roads and they installed them. I'm not sure what their position is going to be in terms of maintenance.
It was more along the lines of a question of it's not that old. It should be still under some form of warranty that it's all deteriorated as much as it has.
I'm guessing there's a 2-year maintenance bond, and I'm almost certain it has to be more than 2 years because neither Diamond Bridge nor Goffel Road have been paved in that
No,
period.
I think it was when they were doing some park upgrades.
Okay. Well,
I'm not looking for us to do it. I'm not
Yeah.
looking if it's a county road.
Okay.
I'm inquiring whether it's under some form of warranty.
Okay.
The Patriot Estates, the weeds, I know that they were fined. I did receive an email in regards to that. Are they going to be cutting that back or of some form?
Now that we have, we've issued the summons, if it's not done, we can take it and lien the property. So we'll be following through on that.
And just a comment to that if that's the quality that they're going to keep it at, I'm not looking forward to what it's going to be for like in the future. Michael, do you understand what I'm saying?
I will reach out to the attorney. They have up to this point been responsive to things, and I'll shoot an email to her tomorrow asking her clients to get on this immediately.
Thank you very much. The last thing I have for old business is the stop line at Chopin and Mazer. I know we have completed on Tuesday, all the paving up in the area up there. So can you tell me in Ward 1, District 1, if we've done our lining, or should I just hold this off until lining is completed?
That is something it's a long-term commitment. I want to make sure we get that done before winter. I'm not sure. There have been requests for the markouts for driveways in that area. I'm not sure whether we'll be able to get all that done, but we can certainly get the stop line done.
I know that we are entering the leaf season, and I know that we'll be on limited manpower once that season begins. I know we've been promising this gentleman, and I'd really like to see that get done.
That's exactly right. That's why I said this. We won't necessarily get everything painted, but that is one that we've had a commitment, and I will make sure it gets done.
Thank you very much. I have nothing else.
Mike.
Thank you, Council President. I have only 2 small things. One, I want to congratulate all the police officers that received their promotions last week. Good luck to everybody. And just a question, I know tonight, the reason why we're not on cable is something that with our AV equipment and installation, but I know last week there was an issue on the cable end. Did we have any headway in finding out what's going on with that?
Yes, Michael. What had happened was Lori had contacted Cablevision. They had their engineers go through all of their settings and wiring up at the facility, up at their facility. Then they came down to our facility, and they were working in our room for a while, just going over everything. They said that there was a problem with the wire, which they redid and put a new connector on, and hopefully that will take care of everything. But since then, what had happened was the company that we have hired to come in and do all new wiring and all new equipment has been in for the last week and a half, and they're in the process now. Well, all of that was actually ripped out of the whole room. The room was basically just abandoned as far as any kind of wiring or TV. It's all back up and we're in the process of starting training on it within the next couple of days. We'll be up live again for our next council meeting, but it took them a lot longer to do the wiring and the install of all the new equipment, and that's why we're not up tonight.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it. Appreciate the feedback. That's all I have, Council President.
Rena,
Council President, I don't have anything. Thank you.
Bruce,
Yes, I don't know if any of you have been down at the end of Washington Avenue in the last 2 weeks or so, but the demolition and cleanup at the Pan Chemical site is proceeding at a rapid pace. They're doing a great job. And the residents, I've spoken to a couple on Washington Ave in my daily walks and commutes, and they are very pleased to see that finally happening. The one resident, as he put it, said he never thought in his lifetime he'd see that happen. So the residents so far have been very pleased. The truck traffic does not appear to be a problem. While I was down in that area, I also took a walk over to Lafayette Ave, and the resident who does the annual Halloween decoration called the Zombie House has once again put on a very elaborate display that I recommend you go and take a look. The zombies do not appear to be social distancing or wearing masks, so I don't know if that's a problem, but I recommend our citizens go down and take a look anyway. It's very entertaining. And it's kind of a nice respite from all of the stress that we've had to see him doing it. And Halloween is back and kind of put a smile on my face. And I think it'll do that for our residents. That's all I have, Council President.
Dominic,
No, I'm okay.
John,
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I'd like to thank the mayor on a couple of different topics. Number one, I've been an advocate of having our borough nurse come in the evening and giving the first responders flu shots. The mayor was very convincing to her. And on October 23rd, between 5 and 7 p.m., the borough nurse will be at town hall for all our first responders to come in and have a flu shot. So Mayor, I just want to say thank you. I know the ambulance corps, we had a meeting on Monday night. They're very happy that we're able to do this at a time when most people are off from work. And the other thing that I'd like to talk about is over the past year at least, I, for one, along with several of my colleagues, have been discussing the problem on 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th Ave pertaining to parking of the employees of one of the establishments in that area. Thanks to the mayor, he's been able to talk with them, and I'm going to say in the near future, no date has been set, but there's two companies back there that are going to be that are talking to each other, and one of them is up for sale. And at that time, the employees of Premio will be taken off the street, and they'll be put in a parking lot on Premio's property. So, Mayor, I have to say thank you on behalf of the residents in that whole area. You did an outstanding job with the negotiations and bringing both companies together. And again, just a big thank you. I really appreciate it. And I know the neighbors may have read it in your letter, but to hear it tonight, at least maybe on a replay, is I think it's going to be very rewarding, and they're going to be very happy. The other question that I have is for Eric. How do we keep track of how many garage sales someone has at their home during the course of a year? I believe we're only allowed to have 2.
They're talking about garage sales. How many are you allowed to have?
That's what I just said.
Yeah, they're allowed 2 garage sales. The clerk's office keeps a record, and they get a permit for each one. So if they're conducting a garage sale without a permit, then if the police notice or someone reports it to the police, there can be action taken. So, if they're concerned about extra ones. I know that there was one particular property, the issue was raised. We checked and there were only 2 permits that had been issued. There was a thought that maybe they were issued under 2 different addresses, but that didn't appear to be the case. There was nothing nearby that had been issued a permit. So.
I was going to bring it up under new business because I agree with Councilman Lane. I think we know who we're talking about. It's every weekend. It's in the middle of the road. I definitely think that he does it on the weekends, so we don't have anybody out there enforcing it. So I don't know if Councilman Lane wants to, I think everybody knows.
Well, I'll tell you, Councilman Woteki, a couple of times I've actually called the police and asked them to go out there and document that they've been out there and document the time and the date that they were there so that the office can check to see if there were permits and how many permits were issued or if there were no permits.
If they need to have a permit to display. So if an officer stops there and there's no permit, they don't need to report it to anybody. They should be able to issue a summons right then and have them clean it up. It shouldn't have to be checking. If they don't have the permit, they can't do it. And I will review that with the attorney and with the new police chief and make sure that we understand what we're doing for enforcement.
Great, thank you, Eric. Other than that, I think that's all I have for old business.
Okay.
Stan, hold on, I'm sorry, I couldn't get on mute. Before we even go, Michael, I don't want to go down a road with this gentleman again, where it's an issue where, it's his constitutional right to be able to sell things off his porch. And then we lose and then we look silly. Because I know that we've been down the road with this guy once before. Is it his constitutional right to sell something? And are we, I don't know, Michael,
Yeah, no, I'm not aware of anywhere in the Constitution where there's a right to garage sale. It might be somewhere in there, but I'm pretty confident it's not. We don't prohibit, we regulate. And by and large, regulate is permitted. Prohibiting gets into a different area. And the question is, why are you regulating? And if we have a right to regulate, then there's an enforcement right. So I don't know that there's any reason why this ordinance would be susceptible to challenge. But if that's what the person wishes to do, so be it.
Well, Michael, what I've witnessed is a number of sales. At times when the garage door is open, the garage is actually full of boxes of stuff to be sold. My question is not necessarily your constitutional rights, but is he running a full-time business there with regard to in a residential zone?
Well, again, I am not at all familiar. You guys all know apparently what this property is. I do not. So I would say I'll look into it with Eric tomorrow. If the person is running a business as opposed to having a garage sale. Garage sale is a casual twice-a-year event versus somebody running a business out of their home, which is, we do have regulation for that as well. So I'll look at it with Eric and we will report back.
Thank you.
Anything else, Joe? Turn your mic on.
No, Council President.
Moving on to new business. Joe? Turn your mic on.
I got it. I'm trying to use that space bar. It's not working all the time. All right, so we received today the new Board of Health inspections. So everyone that I have received, are we doing in-restaurant Board of Health inspections? Because there's been no reports of them. It's been the dead cats, the dead squirrels, the dead rabbits.
Don't forget the possum.
The possum, but I don't see any restaurants. When's the last time we inspected a restaurant? And if there has been, is there a report? And I'm not picking on any one organization, please. I just want to know that we're still inspecting the restaurants.
I will
I think
check.
that was last quarter though. So I mean, that was a backwards quarter. So that could be why there was no restaurants.
Oh, we used to
I
get a
will-
monthly.
I will check into this and get back to you.
It's got to be, as the mayor says, a yeoman's job to be keeping up with the COVID responsibilities that are out there. I can't imagine adding in all the dogs and deer and rabbits and that in the restaurants and the bars. And do we need to hire a second health inspector? That's all.
We'll
May
look
I,
into it.
may I add a comment,
Sure,
Council President?
sure.
Okay. So for my liquor license inspections, Jean Mugalusi did go in and I did attach her report, which was just in the form of an email. When we approved license renewals last meeting, she did physically go in all the liquor license establishments. I can't speak for the other places, but I know she did it for the liquor license renewals. So just wanted to share that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mike, any new business?
I have none. Thank you very much, Council President.
Rena?
I do. Just want to thank the borough, Eric, and DPW and Downs to getting the hazard trees that were on 8th Avenue. The resident was very appreciated that they finally came down. But my question is about the process. Calls get put into the phone number, the shade tree, and I'd like to understand about the prioritization because these trees seem to be hazards trees and they were dead. And so branches and tree limbs were falling. So I just want to understand the process when residents call about trees that are on borough-owned property and how we're following up on this. Because this one seemed to took a little bit longer than what we saw. So
All trees, all reports come in are referred to our arborist who makes an inspection and determines whether something needs trim or come down. And he also makes a determination if it's an urgent situation, in which case we need to get the contractor out there on an emergent basis. Just because something needs to come down doesn't necessarily mean that he has determined that it's an immediate hazard. It does get put on a list. We monthly give a purchase order to Downs for the things that are non-emergent. And I know that we had been quite behind at one point. We got caught up. And then of course, some of the storms, we did get, I think we are backed up a little bit, but that's basically the process. Usually from the time depending on what time of month you call in, we'll collect them during a month, we'll issue a purchase order, and they will get taken down in the next month or so. So it might be a couple months before it comes down. If the arborist has determined that it's an immediate hazard, then we get Downs out there on an emergent basis and pay more for it.
okay, so I know that the shade tree about a year ago, I think it was the end of last year, they put together a tree inventory and, they do their inspections as part of their 5-year community forestry plan. So just identifying, prioritizing the trees from a hazard standpoint, how is that put back into the system, especially these trees that are coming down? So I assume there's a process to take it off the inventory and make adjustments and just address those hazard trees. I was hoping that Drea and the arborist was coming. Joe mentioned it at the last meeting. Just understanding the process.
I don't know how the inventory works with the removal process. I can try to find out.
Okay.
I would imagine if our arborist is looking at things and and identifies anything that's a hazard that needs to be come down immediately, he would report it. But I can't say exactly what that process is and how the inventory works with with removal. But we can look into it.
Okay, great. Because it's all part of the plan, Eric, that gets approved by the DEP forestry. And, you know, whatever we can do to help communicate with the process, and people have to understand that it may take a couple of months. So they just have that communication and understanding. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Bruce.
Yes, I too reported a tree problem from a resident on 6th Ave that I got a call from this week, and I spoke to Eric about it, and he's currently looking into it for me. The resident seems to think that it's gone to a more serious situation with the tree leaning on his house. So when you speak to the right people, Eric, let me know what you find out so I can get back to this gentleman and
Okay.
let him know that we're working on it. Thank you.
Dominic.
No, I'm okay. Thank you.
John.
Yes, Eric, can you look into, we had a problem at one time with the business that was operating at Hawthorne and Warburton Avenue with taking their goods and putting them outside when they were open. The other night I saw where the old Mayala furniture place is, they had items outside on the blacktop on the sidewalk, and I don't know if they're allowed to do that. I did take some photos as I was driving by, so if you need those, I can give them to you. But I don't think they're allowed to have some of their material outside like that. It has to be inside, I believe, because that was the same situation that happened at Hawthorne and Warburton.
We'll look into it.
Yeah,
That's all I have, Mr. President.
That applicant had no outside occupation for the old Myelas. As a matter of fact, there was a transmission person that was basically thrown out of there. And I believe it was a repair place across the street that was using that for storage at the moment. Correct, Mayor?
I think you're right, although I thought we had a auction company movement that was doing no storage outside and no public interaction. That was also in that building, Frank, but I could be wrong.
Maybe
Well,
they
I did-
offload. Was
I
it for
did
sale,
see
John,
where-
or did they offload a truck and it just wasn't brought in yet?
No, there was no trucks there. There was where the garage doors are. I believe that's where the transmission place is. This is where I think the showroom was for the when the car dealer was there.
Oh, okay.
Well, we'll look into it.
Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Okay, I have no new business as well, so we'll turn to the administrative agenda presented by Mayor Goldberg. Mayor, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President. Due to the guidelines set by the New Jersey Department of Health, I'm faced with a difficult decision of canceling the Mayor's Halloween Parade, which traditionally happens later this month. I have posted on the borough website the recommendations from the New Jersey Department of Health guidelines on safe trick-or-treating and holiday parties. Our website, as you know, is www.hawthornenj.org. The flyer is posted under the news section, as well as the COVID button on the front page of the website. It's also been posted on the borough's Facebook page. I am welcoming 2 new members to the Board of Recreation, Don Nepper and Susan Dietrich. The board will be having their first meeting quite some time virtually next week. Divert canceled their annual candlelight vigil this year, but please remember that the month of October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and I want to thank the Divert team for all of the good work that they do in Hawthorne since their inception in 2002. The number of cases involving domestic violence has declined, and I encourage residents to support and honor crime victims and those who serve them during the month of October and throughout the entire year. By law, the mail-in ballots were supposed to be mailed on Monday, October 5th. As of today's date, I haven't received mine. If you don't receive your ballot by October 19th, please call the county clerk's office election division directly at 973-881-4127. And we have in the back of Borough Hall a ballot mailbox that you can use to drop off your ballot. This is going to be collected once a day by election authorities and will save you from having to mail your ballot back to the county. So the ballot box is picked up by the county once a day. It is outside the mail delivery system. I urge you to use the ballot mailed to you because if you vote on election day at the polls, you'll be given a provisional ballot and those ballots are counted last. So please use the ballot you've been given and please use only one for those of you who receive multiple ballots. One per person is the rule. Next week, I'll be sending my letter out once a week because our numbers have consistently been below 10. If I find a spike in the numbers, I'll go back to writing my letters twice a week. Next week, the Chamber of Commerce is holding Restaurant Week. And during the month of October, the Hawthorne Rotary is having their Best of Hawthorne event, where the tickets are available for that as well. That's where you go to the restaurants, try out the dishes, and vote on who has the best pizza, who has the best burger, etc. That being said, I call upon my borough attorney, Michael Pasquale, for his report.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I want to send regards to my mother who had shoulder replacement on Monday. She apparently a repetitive motion injury from use of a wooden spoon, stirring and hitting. Not sure, but anyway, she's doing well. And thank you for all who send their regards. You will also notice it's hard to see on the screen. And with Techie, I'm very disappointed in you, but it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Some of us thought to wear pink. Just saying. So again, wear pink and support those because everybody knows people who have been touched by this terrible illness, and it's really something we need to eradicate. That being said, let me move on to a couple more mundane matters, which is, first of all, Brookside Avenue. We have had multiple discussions internally on what we can do there, and the good news is I was now contacted by both a family member of the person who is living there, as well as an attorney who I happen to know very well, who is going to be representing the brother who lives in California. And with everything that is being brought to bear, we are very hopeful we'll be able to bring about some results. I apologize to the people in that neighborhood that we can't do things sooner than we are, but we are working on this just every day. The affordable housing matter, we had basically a status update I provided to the court yesterday. The next thing that will be happening is at its next regular meeting, the planning board will be receiving the redevelopment study for the 3 Ronson property. And the 3 Ronson property, if it's found to be an area in need of redevelopment, we'll be able to move forward with zoning for that property. Last thing I want to report is earlier, I guess at the end of last week, the DCA published rules for the conduct of public meetings, and there are now regulations on virtual meetings and also going back to live meetings where there's limitations on capacity. I'm very happy to report that we in Hawthorne have consistently done what we're supposed to be doing. These rules read almost like what we've been doing to date. And so next week, I know when we get our new system in, Council President Eric, Lori, and I will be engaging in a little mock try of the system and also some of the things we need to do that are changes. There's only a couple minor tweaks we need to make, but I think overall we've done a really good job, and we'll implement these few final changes in the next 2 weeks. So we will roll out a very good meeting in 2 weeks. And that, Mayor, concludes my report.
Thank you, Michael. I now call upon our borough engineer, Dr. Boswell, for his report.
Thank you, Mayor. The 2020 road improvement program, the paving of Highview and Cynthia is scheduled for early next week. The drainage improvements for Barker are being reconfigured due to some utility conflicts that were discovered when we started the work. Garden will be paved in conjunction with Barker. The 2020 New Jersey DOT municipal aid application, which is Parmley, the concrete work is completed and Parmley Ave is paved. Striping is expected to be completed by tomorrow. We'll then request a final inspection of the DOT and get our final reimbursement. The Hawthorne Library lighting improvements, we reached out again to the New Jersey State Library Board to see if there's any revised timeline. They told us that everyone will be notified by September. We told them it is now October and no one's been notified. And they said, yeah, you're right. I guess we're behind. So we will find out when we find out. We've not gotten any rejection or we just don't know where it's going to end up. The DPW garage trench drain, Marini Brothers is waiting for delivery of the trench drain and scheduling the work for the next week or two. And finally, the municipal building north section roof replacement. We did get a quote from Pano Roofing to install a new TPO roofing system. This is over the northern section of the municipal building, which is the, I believe, original roof at that particular place. The good news is the quote is slightly less than we had anticipated because it has never been re-roofed at all. So you don't need to remove the one that's on there. You only need to put one over, put a TPO roof over. And Eric has asked us to get 2 more prices just to make sure there are 3 prices on file before we make any award. And other than that, Mayor, I'll answer any questions.
Thank you, Steve. I call upon my Borough Administrator, Eric Maurer, for his brief report.
Brief. First of all, I want to thank Councilman Sciarra and Witecki for having American flags here, so I didn't have to pledge allegiance to the wall. Thank you very much. Yesterday, there was a pre-construction meeting on the New York Susquehanna and Western's Railroad's project of upgrading a crossing at Diamond Bridge Avenue, which is funded by the NJDOT. Work will take place from November 2nd through November 9th. There will be temporary additional parking restrictions at Central and Lincoln to accommodate trucks turning there that will be following a necessary detour. The signs for the truck restrictions on the numbered avenues, which is the new ordinance, they have been received and markouts have been called in. We expect installation to start by next week and hopefully conclude by the end of October or maybe a little bit earlier. So that project will be complete. We received an expression of interest from another Passaic County municipality to purchase Old Tower 2 and expect to have a resolution on the agenda at our next meeting. That resolution had tentatively been listed for this agenda, but the matter is still working its way through the decision-making process at the other town. Hawthorne Auto Sales LLC has received multiple summonses for the inoperable vehicles on their site and will continue to receive them, as well as zoning summonses going forward until the violations are abated. The business at 199 Gothel Road has until Friday to remove all their inoperable vehicles, and if that doesn't happen, they will also receive summonses until the violations are abated. Work on the second floor renovations is proceeding. Work on wiring for the new phone system will commence shortly in order to be in place for the arrival of the new voice over IP phone system for the building. And finally, Director of Revenue and Finance, Lori Foley, and I have begun initial work on the 2021 budget. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Eric. Council President will be happy to answer any questions.
Before I go to anybody in the attendance, there was a question on the chat, Eric, if you could answer that one. It has to do with the divert process with COVID by Miss Almetti. Basically, she wants to know how are we reacting with the COVID situation and victims, like other than standing outside the police station, are we bringing them in, or how are we protecting them and social distancing at the same time? Can't hear you. Microphone, Eric. Still off. Hit your space bar, Joe says.
I don't know exactly what they're doing. I can look into that. I'm not involved with divert or how the police handle those issues. But I can find out what
Okay.
the process is.
Fair enough. Thank you. Any questions for the administration?
Yes, Mr. President, I have one for Eric.
John?
Eric, I see that the gutters have been replaced on the library on the Jefferson Street side. Are the new gutter guards also been in place and installed?
I believe that was part of the project. I will confirm that they're in place.
Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. President.
I'm not climbing up there to look at it, though.
No, I don't expect you to do that.
Boswell can send his guys used to falling off the roof.
Council President?
Yes.
Thank you. Just maybe a little information. I don't have a whole lot because I'm just starting to begin my research on it for the divert. I had spoke to Sue Pilata and I think it was Joni. Both told me that there is a room inside the police station that when somebody goes related to domestic violence, that they run to a secure room. If that helps out the resident with an answer, at least gives them a little more information. So there is some place that they'd be taken.
No, that's what we normally used to do, but obviously with the COVID, has anything changed? Okay.
No, but we'll find out.
Any other questions? I had a follow-up.
You just had another one pop up.
Yeah, I was going to follow up. That was a question that we had the other day that was offline, but I was going to follow up with that. The trailers that are at the Nissan property, I know, Rich, you said you're going to check into that. We weren't sure whose trailers they were.
Those trailers belong to Premio. I just spoke to them today and said that they had to be removed. And they said they were to remove them. He's asked me whether I know anybody who's got an area for temporary rent so that he could relocate till he makes his purchase on Fifth Avenue. But he was told today they had to go. The person who owns the property told him they had to go because I said to the property owner, that's a zoning violation. The summons comes to you, not the guy who put the trucks there. So he was motivated to make sure. But I spoke to Premio about 5 o'clock today, and they said that they would get on it. They said they mitigated some noise issues. They said it's not the noise, it's just that it's a zoning violation to have them there. So they should be going away in the next day.
So I wasn't sure they were theirs because there was no cooling packs on those trailers.
Yeah, I think that was their dry storage, Frank, rather than their
Okay.
regular storage. So hopefully that will go away in the next day or two.
Got it. Any other questions for the administration before we move on?
Question for you, Council President. Aren't
Yes.
these the type of questions that should come in during the public portion of the meeting?
No, that is true, but I did have a question for Rich because Rich and I were talking about this. When was it? The golf outing? I forget when
Probably.
maybe no, we were putting the signs. We were doing something the other day. But normally, yes, Bruce.
Your meeting, sir. No problem.
But anyway, can I have a motion to record the administrative agenda?
So moved.
Motion.
Well, I'm sorry. Motion by Witecki, second by Sierra. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Introduction of ordinances, we have none this evening. Resolutions, we have consent agenda R104-20 through R115-20. R104-20 is disabled vet tax exemption. R105-20 is the refund of water bill overpayment. R106-20 is correct typo on R102-20. R107-20 is authorized online auction. R108-20 is to amend the redevelopment study authorization for 3 Ronson property. R109-20 is to join the New Jersey Cooperative Purchasing Alliance. R110-20 is the Lucas chest compression devices for ambulance corps, and that's under the CARES Act. R111-20 is the COVID response vehicle for the ambulance corps, covered under the CARES Act. R112-20 is the COVID response vehicle for the police department, covered under the CARES Act. And R113-20 is the Boswell Engineering feasibility study for disinfecting HVAC system, covered under the CARES Act, and that's for sterilizing the air system as with the ultraviolet light system. R114-20 emergency award for pump repairs for south and north stations. R115-20 is Boswell Engineering Services for Washington Ave sanitary sewer improvements. Have a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Bennett,
Second.
second by Sierra. Any discussion?
Mr. Council President,
Yeah,
I would
sure.
just note record that all the items that are designated for CARES Act have been run by the county and pre-approved, which I wanted to do because they're significant expenditures and they've all been pre-approved by the county.
Got it.
Okay.
Raina?
Okay. Starting from the top, question about the amending of the redevelopment plan. Mike, why are we putting that clause in there about the eminent domain?
It was actually a mistake that I made when I prepared the resolution. Anytime you authorize a redevelopment study, you need to put right in the authorization whether you intend to or not intend to use eminent domain powers. So we are not using eminent domain powers, so I had to put that in there. So it's simply something that's required by the law and an oversight on my part that I'm correcting.
And is that the reason why we're exercising that, not taking the eminent domain, that property, is because of the litigation settlement?
No, we
And
are not
affordable
intending
housing?
to, right, we're not intending to take any property because the property is already owned by a private developer who's ready to develop the property. Eminent domain is something we in the borough have frankly shied away from. In fact, I don't recall us ever using in my tenure here to literally take somebody's property against their will. It is a power that a municipality has. It's one of the most extreme powers, and it's one that we do not generally intend to exercise unless we really have to.
Okay. The next one is 109-20, the Joint New Jersey Cooperative Purchasing Alliance. Eric, are we currently in that alliance, or is this something new that we're joining? And what is the potential cost savings going into this co-op or purchasing?
Joining this, we're not currently a member.
Okay.
The Lucas chest compression devices, which is the next item on the agenda, R110, that's available through this this co-op. It's over the bid threshold, so otherwise we have to put together plans and specs and bid. Where this group has already done that, so we can just ride their coattails in buying these devices.
Okay.
I mean, there may be other
And then-
things in the future that we could buy from them, but we're joining specifically for that purpose.
Okay. All right. And follow-up question really about the feasibility study for the HVAC systems. I understand about the study, but whatever recommendations come out of that, are we going to be able to get the equipment in time to make those changes? I'm sorry, not changes, those enhancements to the HVAC, like any type of filters or anything, just the lead time, and also is there a time limit with the CARES Act?
Yeah, there is a time limit on the CARES Act that things have to be purchased by the end of this year. Well, at the end of the study, we'll have to evaluate whether there's anything that we can get in. If not, our understanding is that there's expectation of 2 more years of CARES Act, and if it's eligible, I mean, they told us it's eligible, then we could do it in the next round of funding.
I'm
Okay.
also not sure, Ray,
So-
I'm also not sure if you actually have to secure the equipment or order the equipment. Maybe
I was just
they-
going to ask that question. I mean, can we issue purchase orders? We have ordered the equipment, but they're not arrival by December 31st, that they're going to arrive like January 15th or
We
something.
can,
Because you,
we can check. What they told us up front is you had to be done, have ordered, purchased, paid for it during the year. And if not, it would go into the next year's funding. But we
Okay.
can check again when we get the results of this. We will take a look at it and see whether that still holds.
okay, great. And I believe that's it, Council President. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Mr. President, just a statement, just so the people who have tuned in know that whatever we're getting under the CARES Act is not costing the taxpayers of Hawthorne any money at all. It's coming from the county and it's coming from the federal government. Is that correct, Eric?
Correct.
Yeah, so I guess we pay for it in our federal taxes, but
Not directly.
It's not paid out of local tax. No.
Correct. So I think that's important.
Is there a description for the COVID response vehicles?
Yes.
The vehicle for the police is a stake body vehicle for carrying, whether it's barriers, transporting mobile message boards and some other things. The one for the ambulance corps, I believe, is a smaller truck enclosed that would have compartments and able to carry things for the ambulance corps.
Joe, there's a full detailed reports with each one for the police and the ambulance within our packet under the resolution.
I
Any other
apologize. I did not see that. No more questions.
Well, and also, Joe, there was a vehicle that was, Eric wrote us a memo that the pickup truck that was in the budget is no longer going to be required for the police department because this vehicle can pull double duty, as he said. So indirectly, it also saves us money as well. Okay. Hearing no other questions, roll call. Did I call?
Roll call. Motion by Bennett, second by Lane.
Yes.
Okay. Bennett,
Yes.
Leosa,
Yes, except for 10820. No.
okay, thank you. Mealy,
Yes, on all of them.
Skiara,
Yes.
Wotecki,
Yes.
Matthews.
Yes.
And Lane.
I apologize. Lane. Yes, I apologize, Council.
Abstain on 110-20 and 111-20, yes on all others.
Okay, great. Thank you. Motion carries.
Reports of special council committees. Joe, we'll start your way.
I have no report.
Rena.
Okay. So I have some exciting news. We are going to the Environmental Commission and the Green Team and the Borough of Hawthorne. We are launching a town-wide cleanup for litter. This is something that's been brought by the members of my commission and Green Team, and we actually talked about this a year ago about doing some type of town-wide event. And so I'm proud to announce that we have created, the Hawthorne Bee came out in the July with the Buy Local campaign. And so now we've made him into another superhero to help Hawthorne defeat litter. And so I'm going to bring him in. This is him. He is the bee. He's got a mask. He's got glasses. He's got the poker, which is the hand grabber, and the garbage bag. And he is coming out October 17th on Saturday. We're launching this. The borough, we're going to be at the Borough Hall from 9 to 11, and we're giving out gloves and bags. And for the first 25 people, we're going to give out the hand grabber, so it will be easy for everyone. And we're asking everyone just to clean up in your neighborhood. Just get out there. Everyone out now is out walking, and you do see some debris, but we want to give the people an opportunity to clean up their neighborhood. So we are launching this October 17th with the borough. We released the press release tonight. I'll be doing a video, but don't be surprised if you see the bee out there on Saturday, October 17th. The rain date is Sunday, same time, but we'll give out the bags and the gloves, and we've got the hand grabbers. So, we want a little competition, of course. We want you to find how many bags you collect, most unusual and most interesting, and we want you to post the bags with the bee on our Facebook page, or you can send it to our email address. We're going to post on the 19th, and we'll have some fun with this. So, one of the things that we talked on the team is a little competition maybe with the awards. So, anything is open, and we're looking forward to getting everyone out there, and hopefully it's a good day. So that's the event that's happening in October. And I'm sure it will be an annual event going forward. Thank you.
Mike.
Thank you, Council President. Two quick notes. Next library board meeting is October 14th at 4:30, and the next school board meeting is October 20th at 7 p.m. One last note on Marina for your townwide cleanup. I would suggest anybody that wants to do cleanup. My house seems to be a vortex for every piece of garbage that's in the borough. So just welcome to come over here, and you can pick it up. And in the leaf season, you can get all your leaves too, because my house collects them. Thank you.
All right, we'll get a crew out there, Mike.
Bruce.
Yes, the Public Works Committee held a virtual meeting on Monday. We discussed in detail plans for the 2021 and 2022 road programs, and looking ahead, discussed in more general terms plans for the road program going all the way out to 2025 and 2026. A lot of people would call Eric a bean counter, but in situations like this, with his ability at numbers and planning and finance, that's a very good thing to have on your side. We also discussed some of the well 3 and well 4, the pumps may need to be rebuilt. Boswell is looking into that for us. And Dr. Steve already told you about the replacement of the roof on the north section of the municipal building. That was discussed, and it's good to hear him say that the estimate came in lower than he thought it would. And basically that sums up everything we covered on Monday night.
Did Raina connect with you regarding a street that she was looking to add to the next road program?
No, but she can email it to me.
Yeah.
That goes for any council person.
Okay.
Her and I were talking this afternoon, and she had one. I said, contact Bruce, and he'll add it to the list.
Yeah, I'll send the pictures to Bruce, and I made Eric aware of it.
Good. All right, it's off my list. Dominic.
Good morning. First of all, on the Municipal Alliance, our grant was cut in a quarter, so we got a quarter of a grant that we usually get. And the reason is the money isn't coming in from, I guess, DWIs and what, drug, Mayor, is that what's from? They lost the revenue. So the committee will have to make some important decisions what we're going to cut for programs. Public safety, I want to congratulate our new police officers who our mayor promoted. I think they're all happy. Also, I want to thank at the time Sergeant Geyer, now with Lieutenant Geyer, and Mike Sierra for filling in for me. They made a video of the crosswalks that we just installed so that people know how to use it. we've had a lot of people at the corners and don't know what they were there for. So now we made a video and it's going to show how to use it. And also on this Tuesday night, Public Safety Committee at number 4 is Firehouse to look for a new fire engine for them. And that is it. Thank you.
John?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Being that we've had so many different problems over the last number of meetings that we've had, and with the new equipment that we have, I've been speaking with Lori, our borough clerk, and with the removal of all the equipment in our TV room, there is a cable box and there is a TV screen. And what's going to happen is that's going to be set up in the administration's office. So either anyone can actually just look and view to make sure that we're always up online. This way it'll be, a no-brainer, and we'll know that, we are sending the feed out to the residents who have Optimum. The other question, the other item that I have, we did have a ordinance meeting. And at the ordinance meeting, we were talking about different parking on dead-end streets in some of the lower sections of Lafayette Avenue. We're also talking about stop signs and making four-way stops at a couple of different intersections in town. And it was brought up that there's the free newspapers that we get that are just thrown in our driveway or thrown in our front lawn, at times tend to be a nuisance to a lot of people. So we're looking into whether to opt in that you want them, or you opt out if you don't want them. That's still in discussion. So we'll continue that discussion with the ordinance committee as we go. Also, the last item that we talked about was presently we have laundromats in town that are open on Sundays. Presently, our ordinance says no laundromats are to be open on Sundays. So we're going to change the ordinance and allow them to be open legally on Sundays, because that's time when a lot of people really do have the time to do whatever laundry they have. So that's something that'll be coming down the pike very shortly. Also, I would like to take this opportunity on behalf of the Ambulance Corps to say thank you very much to Eric, the mayor, as far as the CARES Act is concerned, with getting the necessary equipment that we asked for. Just so people know what it is, the Lucases it's a machine that actually does compressions for someone whose heart has stopped. Instead of waiting for paramedics to come, which sometimes it could take 5-10 minutes, depending on where they are, we will have the necessary equipment to start that immediately versus just hand compressions. So, and the survival rate, if you look up online, is over, I believe it's over 60% successful rate with using a Lucas versus hand compression. So I thank, on behalf of the Ambulance Corps, I thank Eric and the mayor for pushing this through and getting the county to approve this for us. And also the vehicle that the police are getting, I know it's going to be very useful for the town, and it's going to be very helpful. And I believe that's all I have, Mr. President.
Okay. Chamber of Commerce wants to remind everyone to please come down and support the farmers market. Its last meeting or last weekend will be October 25th. The hours are 10 a.m. to 1:30. Please help them finish their season strong. Get your vegetables and alike while they're still available. The mayor touched on this, but the Hawthorne Chamber is also hosting their 9th annual restaurant week starting Saturday, October 10th through Saturday, October 17th. They've made some changes this year to the event since many members have been posting their daily and weekly specials on Facebook during the pandemic. They've also been sharing those specials on the Chamber's Facebook page. So they invite their residents to visit the restaurants and dining establishments for indoor dining, outdoor dining, and takeout. We truly appreciate everyone dining local and shopping in Hawthorne. So they wish to thank everyone and say, please support your local business and keep all of them thriving as much as we can possibly do. So that concludes that report, and that's all I have for committee reports. Correspondence. We have C1, new firefighter application, Matthew Shea to Rescue 5. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Sierra, second by, was it Neely?
Yeah.
Okay. Any discussion? Roll call.
She's muted.
The lips
Okay.
are moving. There
Thank
you
you.
go.
Woteki,
Abstain.
thank you. Skiara,
Yes.
Mealy,
Yes.
Lane,
Abstain.
Leosa,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Matthews.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Bills. Can I have a motion to approve the bills and forward them to the treasurer for payment?
So moved.
Motion by Bennett, second by
Second.
Mealy. Second by Mealy. Any discussion? Roll call.
Bennett,
Yes.
Leosa,
Yes.
Lane,
Abstain on the fire department and on the ambulance corps, yes on all others.
thank you. Mealy,
Yes on all of them.
Skiara,
Yes.
Woteki,
Abstain on the fire department, yes on all others.
Matthews.
Yes on all of them.
Great, thank you. Motion carries.
Public comment. I'll now open the meeting to the public. If anyone desires to be heard, please call in now at 312-757-3121, access code 472-199-829. Now, before I take any comments from anybody on the chat, Melissa Lambert said that there was someone on the call that would like to be heard first because she has to leave by 8:15.
Can you hear me?
Yes, who are we speaking with?
Okay, my name is Denise Parcells and I live on Lafayette Avenue.
What's
Right
your
here.
number?
My number, my phone number, or what do you
No,
mean?
your
Oh, house number?
Yeah, just your
790.
street. Okay, thank
790.
you, Denise.
Okay.
We're gonna get you in. We're gonna get you in here before you have to leave.
Awesome, wonderful. I
Thank you
just
for,
wanted
holding
to.
this.
Okay. Actually, this is more directed towards Mayor Goldberg because I think he could have some solution to the ongoing occurrence of destruction of political signs, most movement signs, and people going and trespassing on people's property to remove them. I had something very upsetting happen to me last week. My daughter had painted on our door going back in June, a BLM, Black Lives Matters. We've come from a very multiracial family, so that's a movement that is strong in our family, and it was on our door, the inside of our screen door, but it was the plexiglass. Somebody came and took a paint scraper and scraped that off our door while we were sleeping at night, and then put a squirrel's tail in our mailbox. Very upsetting. So the closer it gets to the election, the more aggressive whoever these people are doing this on people's property are getting. And I don't know if in your weekly letter, if you could put a sentence or two reminding people that they can't trespass on property, destroy property, and do things like this, because number one, freedom of speech, and number two, trespassing is illegal. And I'm sorry, as skunk's tail in my mailbox, not skunk, squirrel's tail, was going a little too overboard. So I don't know if you're aware of how frequent this is happening in our town, but it's getting worse and worse and worse the closer the election gets.
I can tell you, Denise, that it's a problem every year with people taking political signs off of people's lawns. We find them in storm drains or whatever. It's not something we encourage or tolerate. Very frankly, the signs cost money, and to see them trashed or ripped up or whatever doesn't make anybody happy. I hope in your case, you made a report to the police department about someone coming onto your property and scraping something off your door, because that's not something that we should tolerate in the borough.
Honestly, I didn't, because I figured it'd be no more than a report that nobody can do anything with. There's no cameras. My neighbors don't have cameras. But the upsetting part was it was on the inside of my door. Someone physically opened my door, had a paint scraper, so this had to be planned. This took my daughter 3 hours to paint. Anyone driving down Lafayette knows what house I'm talking about. Scraped it off my door.
And that's why I think you need to file a police report, because, most people don't know that that's happening. I'm assuming including the police. And it's hard to react to things that they're not informed about. So I would urge you tomorrow to call and file a report. But we do not tolerate or condone anybody going on private property and moving political signs, because it's just not what we do.
In my mailbox.
Yeah, no, that's certainly not something that's acceptable, and should never happen. And I apologize to you that it happened to you and that your daughter had to experience that, because that's not what we're about here in Hawthorne. Like I said, we're used to Republican signs being taken. We're used to Democratic signs being taken. No one ever admits to it, but it happens. But this seems like more than just general mischief of tearing down a political sign.
I don't know if you put a sentence or two in with your letter showing that you understand, you're aware it's an issue, and just reminding people that this is not the way, we should behave.
Yeah, no,
I go a long way.
certainly,
And you support.
I can certainly do that, and I will do that in next week. Actually, I have a letter tomorrow. I'll try and remember to put it in tomorrow's letter. But in no time should somebody be coming onto your property and defacing your property. Whether they agree with the sentiment or not, that's not the point. We're entitled to have different opinions and still live together in peace.
All right, because I felt like to call the police and do a report on something that I know it'll never get further than a piece of paper in a file somewhere would be a waste of their time. But you feel I should do that anyway?
I think you should, yeah.
Okay. I could take a trip down there tomorrow. Well, I do thank you for allowing me to speak first, because I do have a job I have to get to, and I appreciate your support.
Anytime, Denise. Don't ever think you're wasting the police's time, because they're there for you. They're there for everyone, and we're all one community. And if anybody's offending you, they're offending us.
Well, that's good, because what if someone who was non-Christian decided Christmas decorations offended him? I mean, where does it stop,
No, I agree with you. I'm Christian, the mayor's Jewish. Either way, one of us is going to get insulted. So it's wrong. It's wrong, plain and simple. It's unacceptable. So please.
Okay, I just figured the mayor's putting something in a letter showing support and, pretty much.
Don't condone it. Never will.
Okay, awesome. Wonderful. Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
Okay. Before I go to our people that are online here, we did have some public comment that was mailed to the clerk. And bear with me. I'm told I need to read it in its entirety as per the recommendations of the DCA that Mike reported, like I did last week. Okay. So this is from Tony Ann Passaros, and I don't recall where she lives. Where does she live? On Arlington Avenue? You have to take what was the address on Arlington Ave?
I'm sorry, didn't get the address, but she's on the corner of Arlington and McKinley, but I will find that out. Okay. I didn't hear back. Yeah, she's on Arlington.
Close enough. Good afternoon. This is a public comment for the meeting of 10/7, bringing this matter to your attention because it's gone on far too long without any resolve. So I don't know if there's any communication to Eric or any other administrative officials. The matter of fact here is so much garbage and debris been on the streets around my block and in the front and the side of my home. Constantly picking up garbage and litter that's thrown onto the street. The main culprit is the apartment building known as Arlington Arms that has tenants that do not seem to care about keeping our town pristine or the condition of the environment. I'm constantly picking up used diapers and one time a bloody napkin, coffee cups, plastic bags with dog feces, etc. It's very disgusting. It's a health hazard, and I've taken videos, photos of it before in the past and have tried to get something done about it, but of course, nothing has been done. I've even had someone in my household go to my ward councilman, Mr. Joe Witecki, with videos, and yet nothing was done. Nobody gets tickets for littering. Nobody gets tickets for parking in a way when the street sweeper is supposed to come. The main issue is garbage and debris because the street sweeper never comes, and I'm not sure why. There are signs at designated times the sweeper is supposed to come, yet the town does not enforce this. There are clear signs that say when and where you can or cannot park on the street for cleaning, and it's often disregarded by people, and the garbage cans pile up. On top of this, nobody gets a ticket for following the signs. When the sweeper occasionally does come by, the cars are usually in the way, so the sweeper can't get the job done. Clearly, communication breaks down, and because this cycle continues every month. Yesterday was October 5th, 2020, the first Monday of the month. Signs clearly state no parking on the first and third Monday of the month, so the street can be swept. Yesterday, the sweeper did not come at all. There are tons of leaves and garbage in the street. Today is October 5th, Tuesday, October 5th, and the first and third of the month, and the sweeper is supposed to come. The sweeper did come and sweep the sides of the street that are designated Tuesday, but not on Monday, like it's supposed to happen. This is a constant occurrence, and the sweeper actually does come. It does not on schedule. It's so unfair that the apartment building, Arlington Arms, that generates much of the garbage and debris that flies all over the rest of the block, gets their side of the street swept, but not on the other side. And on top of that, there are cars still blocking the sweeper, but no tickets. This really ruins the area of the neighborhood, and there are many children that live on this area too. I don't want them to have to pick up bloody napkins and dog feces. Basically an environmental hazard over here, and this town does not seem to care. This needs to be fixed ASAP. Thank you.
So first, if I could just comment that I have brought this up almost every meeting. This is the McKinley Arms. She's referring to the Arlington Arms, but it is the McKinley Arms.
I kind of thought that's what she meant.
And I recently brought it up where we're sending the street sweeper down the middle of the road and not doing the side roads. And Eric at the September 2nd meeting, I believe, said that they were going to start issuing tickets. I make the assumption we haven't been doing that then.
I had reported to the police and they said they were going to do enforcement for the parking. I specifically communicated with the new police chief this week after receiving this email to discuss how we need to enforce regularly here. We'll get into leaf season, and you know that becomes a problem with sweeping. Even though we have it marked for first and third, or in some places second and fourth days of the week, we only plan to sweep once. We have the second time so that if we have other things like leaves or snow removal, it helps. Or if we get a chance to, if we miss one time, we can come back the next time so we don't have to wait a whole month. This property has, I mean, this area, this street has been a problem with cars on the street. We need better enforcement there. If anybody from the McKinley Arms is watching, we will be enforcing on the third Monday and Tuesday on the appropriate side of the street. And we will be enforcing in November. We will do it generally. We are going to develop a list townwide of places where the sweeper operator has observed disregard of the law, and we will be, particularly as we get back into street sweeping in the spring, we are going to be giving extra attention to those areas. So if people are routinely disregarding this ordinance, they will be getting tickets. And I have confidence in our police chief that he will make that happen.
Okay. So,
Mr. President, just I have a question for Eric. I understand it's not 100% leaf season yet, so as far as I would think, we can still do it the month of October and at least clean up whatever is there and enforce whatever is there. And, you know, you give them a ticket, it hurts the pocketbook. I think people then will understand.
The issue is if they get tickets on the third Monday and Tuesday, the cars will still be there. Sweeping will not be effective. If they get tickets then and they know we're coming back on the first Monday and Tuesday in November, which we will sweep, even if we started the leaf season, we will sweep in this area. They have to realize that they're going to get a ticket then too. So.
Okay.
But even as the gentleman stated, and he sent a video, we have a sign that says no parking there the first and third, or I think his is second and fourth. And what ends up happening is they just keep parking because we never enforce it. It's like, okay, see this line, cross it. Okay, cross it again. I dare you, I'm going to draw a line again. Cross this line now. And we never enforce it. So since we don't enforce it, people just are breaking the law. And I understand Mr. Pissarro is the one I usually bring up. It's not Mrs. Pissarro, it's Mr. Pissarro. And I understand where he gets frustrated. He walked me down McKinley Ave. We walked up to Arlington Ave. All he does is he picks up all the garbage all day long. And I've watched the neighbors. And I said to the guy, I said, hey, buddy, can you please not throw that down on the garbage? He looked at me like I was crazy. And I get
There's a new sheriff in town, or rather a new police chief. As I said, I have confidence in the police chief that he's going to make this. This is an important issue, and I have confidence that we are going to get the enforcement so that we don't have the situation. No longer will have the situation you're describing, Councilman.
All right. So if the sign says we're going to enforce it on those days, we need to, or else if I get a ticket, I'm going to be like, hey, the sign said second and fourth. You didn't give me a ticket on the second, but you gave it to me on the fourth. I like what Belleville does. Belleville has a street sweeper, and right behind him, he's got a traffic cop, which I think is like a special two, who he keeps pulling over, writes the ticket, pulls over, writes the ticket. I've been complaining about this.
We're going to enforce, and we're going to enforce. And as I said, I have confidence in the police chief, and we're going to see some action.
okay, in the meantime, can we send our DPW with one of Raina's special garbage poking sticks to pick up the garbage? That we don't need cars moved for. If there's garbage on the streets and the curb, we can pick that up.
I'll talk to the Public Works Director.
Thank you. All right, move on back. Let's go back to the public session and not take up the public's time.
Thank you, Council President.
Thank you for your input, both of the councilmen. Craig, you were next on the list, then we're going to go to Melissa.
Thank you, Council President. So my name is Craig Cayetano, 59 Pasadena Place. Well, we've got a really interesting meeting, so I wanted to bring back up the speeding issue on Rehab Extension. And now that we have, Chief Nephew in power, we really need to go back and focus on nailing some of these people that are just blowing up the hill. It's cars, it's trucks. It starts at 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night. It doesn't stop until 5, 6 a.m.
Craig, we did talk about that in the ordinance meeting. I don't think Councilman Lane shared that as well during his report about lowering that.
Yeah, where we are with that.
Well, Craig, I was remiss in not mentioning that. We did speak at length with regard to that. We've asked for recommendations from the police department, and we are going to have another ordinance meeting very shortly to address that, and hopefully we can lower the speed limit.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Lane.
Welcome.
Back to the cleaning and everything that's going on. I put out personally that you can adopt your own storm drain. That it's not hard for us to take 5-10 minutes once a week to go out and check and see if the leaves are blocking the storm drain. Obviously, there's concern of other debris getting in there, recycling, things like that. So I think if Mayor Goldberg, you could put a little note in your letter it would be nice to see, hey, why not adopt your storm drain outside your house?
All right, we can do that too. And I want to know, Craig, how you're signed in 3 times to this meeting. I see your name all over my screen.
My phone was crashing for some reason. I don't know why it's on there 3 times. And then getting back to the cleaning, obviously, I'm glad that we're able to get everything going. I'm so glad that Raina made the announcements tonight, and I can't wait to get out in Ward 3. And don't worry, Mike, I got you, buddy. I'm coming. I'm going to help clean up your property. Don't worry. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
I'll take a picture too.
Oh, one more before I let go. I'm sorry. We were talking about the signs, and I appreciate Denise getting on the call and saying what happened outside her hothouse. But personally, as a candidate and a grassroots candidate, doesn't have a lot of money. It was upsetting to see a couple of my signs thrown away and discarded and ripped in half. And I did share that on my social media, and I'm hoping that something can come out and say that let's respect each other, and that we're trying to stay above the fray when it comes to campaigning, and hopefully our supporters can stay above the fray and not destroy and trash our campaign signs.
We agree with you 100%.
Thank
Absolutely,
you. Good night,
Greg.
everyone.
Totally
Thank
agree.
you.
Okay, Melissa.
Hello, my name is Melissa Lambert. I'm at 185 2nd Avenue. And first, I just wanted to comment, I have been participating in the Citizen Police Academy this year, and it is an absolutely fabulous program. It's raising my awareness, and I'm also having such a good time.
It's fun, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. And on the note of the police department, I was just wondering if there was any update on the body cameras.
Eric, you want to chime in on that? Because I have no input.
There is, I have no further update right now, but I will talk to the police chief and we will get some sort of update.
Thank you. That was it. Thank you very much.
Oh, okay. I know we're moving forward, Melissa, but nothing moves quick in government.
Understood. I just want to keep checking up because I'm getting to know the guys, fond of the guys, and want to see them have all the equipment they need to do their jobs.
Sure. Understand. Originally, that's why, 4 years ago, or 2016, when we originally tried to purchase them, we were doing it for them, not necessarily for the public. We just wanted to protect what we thought was our good employees, and obviously it would protect the public as well, but you could tell that plan just didn't quite work out the way we wanted.
Understood.
So, okay, well, thank you, Melissa. John, did you want to speak regarding the tickets, or you're just saying that maybe we should give people a warning, then a ticket? I know when we were talking about McKinley Arms, John put on the chat line, John Haley, about maybe giving a warning first and then a ticket, since we haven't ticketed for years. Just a thought. Anyone else wish to be heard from the public? Going once?
Frank, I make a motion to close the public session.
Fair enough. Do I have a second?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, wait,
Council.
there's one more email that came in.
Yeah.
Patty Emerciano from 20 Hutchinson Ave. She was talking about the street cleaning that was done today on both sides of the street. 2 issues was this. It was the wrong week and the wrong day. Since the streets by Roosevelt School makes it nearly impossible to street clean. While a good portion of the residents are moving their cars and school personnel, they would park their cars when they're moved. It's the street that was cleaned today. I was wondering if the day was changed, since she believes it was supposed to be Wednesday, remote for all day Roosevelt. I'm thinking that we will not have a street cleaning next week since they made an attempt today. Eric, if you could just follow up to see if Hutchinson was on schedule or if it's an off week.
We should be sticking to the schedule. If we're doing it on the wrong week or the wrong day, then it's got to be fixed. Okay?
So just follow up and ask our guys if we're off schedule or did we change the schedule and the signs just don't match?
There's no reason to change the schedule if we haven't changed the sign. At least not in any place where it is signed. The street sweeper does go places where we don't have parking restrictions, and therefore in those places it doesn't matter quite what the schedule is. But where we have signs, we need to follow the posted schedule, which is this, because otherwise it's not going to work.
It is possible, since there are no students on Wednesday, they thought that would be a chance to sneak in and clean both sides of the street. Because normally there's, when regular school is, they're there 5 days a week, and then now I think they're only there 4 days a week. I'm not explaining it, I'm not forgiving it, but that may be what it was.
That would make sense, but then they should have the teachers park like on the playground or something at that point to get them off the street. Sure.
I agree.
Mr. President, can I just chime in on something? Years ago, center of town and different, around different schools, the DPW used to start around 5 o'clock in the morning when there was no cars there. Clean the center of town, clean Lafayette Avenue sometimes, and clean around the schools. Why can't we institute that when we know that the schools are, there's just a lot of parking around the schools on the streets. So twice a month, could we have someone start a little bit earlier when there's no cars there at all?
Well, you've got the neighborhood who have their cars there, and I don't want them getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to move their cars to the other side.
I know we've done downtown on a Friday morning when we don't have regular sweeping the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. As the mayor says, unless there's some place where the streets are going to be empty in those hours of the morning, or I don't think we can that we're benefiting anything by coming at that hour.
Okay.
I think the residents are parking there at that time, John, not the teachers at that point. Residents are going to work and the teachers are filling the spot.
Okay.
Anybody else? I think we had a motion in a second, did we not? Roll call.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the motion and second to close public
There
comment.
was a motion by Mealy,
Okay,
Second.
second by Sierra.
There you go.
great. Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved. Move.
So move.
Motion by Lane, second by Bennett. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. The next regular meeting of the municipal council will be a virtual meeting on Wednesday, October 21st at 7 p.m. We're adjourned. Good night, all.
night,
Thank
everybody.
you all for joining.
Good night,
everyone. Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night, John
Have a good
Boy.
night.
Good night, Mary Ellen.
Hi, Mom.
Good night, Mayor. Billy Bob.